What's going on, guys? Kevin here from thesportsgeek.com, and unfortunately the NFL regular season has come to an end, but the playoffs are just starting, and we've got 3 more weeks of contests at DraftKings starting this weekend with the wild card round. So in this video, I'm going over my DraftKings NFL Wild Card picks. All right, so before we move on to the wild card picks, let's take a look back at week 17 very quickly. So first of all, you can see on the left-hand side, I had some solid picks. We had Matt Ryan and Julio Jones, my top stack. They put up 23 and 26 points. Pretty good this week for the cheaper stack. And then we had Zach Ertz, was a cheap tight end, 27 points. He was a popular play, but he really paid off. Eli Manning was my second favorite quarterback. He put up 22 points, which was pretty good. But unfortunately, I had him paired with Odell Beckham, who only put up 10 points. We had Colts defense, one of the cheaper defenses of the week. They put up 12 points. That was a great play. And then on the right-hand side here, you can see the bust. We had Willie Snead, just 6.5 points. Odell Beckham, just 10 points, which isn't good given his price. And David Johnson with only 8.9 points. He got pulled about halfway through the game, so that was a bust as well. And then in the bottom there, you can see that I also emailed out the top scoring quarterback, which was Newton, wide receiver, which was Antonio Brown, and defense, which was Texans. I had someone mention on my last video that I emailed out a bust with Langford, which is true. When I'm giving out 10, 15, sometimes 20 picks each week, I will be emailing out busts as well. But I did have the top scoring quarterback, wide receiver, and defense, so I'm sure that helped out a lot of you guys. And you'll see on the next slide that it did help some of you guys win some money. So if you're not signed up for my emailed picks, make sure you just click on the link in the YouTube description below. It's the lineup tool link that will give you the free lineup tool, and then it will also sign you up for my email updates. All right, so I had lots of great emails from guys who use some of my picks, some of their own, and put together some winning lineups. We had Jimbo. He said he's been watching my videos, taking a lot of my advice on fantasy football. Tonight it paid off. He won $16,000 with $32 in entries. He posted this on my Facebook page. If you guys aren't following my Facebook page, just type in the Sports Geek and it should come up. But I actually saw the screenshot for this and it was pretty cool. I think he had 8 lineups in total and he won $16,000 and just 32 in entry. So congrats to Jimbo. And then the bottom here we had Maverick. He said he used the help of my Antonio Brown and Texans pick, and he was also able to plug them into some Fantasy Labs lineups. He cashed $300 in satellites and $15,000 in GPPs. So congrats to Maverick. That's a huge score. And congrats to the people who emailed me that I couldn't get back to. And if you didn't email me, if you didn't win in week 17, I hope your name is up here for the wildcard week. All right, so like we've been doing lately, let's take a look at the week 17 Millionaire Maker winning lineup. This guy put up 242 points. He started off with the Roethlisberger Antonio Brown stack, which is a stack you can never go wrong with. I didn't love it this week. I thought Matt Ryan and Eli were cheaper plays that could have put up the same production. They were close, but Antonio Brown is almost a must-have every week in at least some of your GPP lineups. And then he went with a pretty unique lineup here, going with Freeman and Julio Jones in the same lineup. I did this quite a bit this week actually too, going against the Saints defense, and these are 2 guys that are going to get the ball a ton. Freeman's getting all the touches in the backfield, and then Julio Jones is getting a ton of targets. So pairing up a running back and wide receiver on a team that's going to put up a big score, or that you project is going to put up a big score, can be very good. And you can see here they only put up 17 points as a team, losing 20-17, but Freeman did have 16.9 points and Julio Jones had 26.9 points. So it still worked out for him, but his best picks here were the cheaper plays. He went with Rashad Jennings at running back. He was 3,700. He put up 28.6 points. Then he went with Terrence Williams, which is just 1.2% owned. No one really thought that Dallas would do much with the quarterback situation they've got going on there. He put up 28.3 points. Zach Ertz was the popular tight end pick of the week, but he put up 27.2 points for him. James Jones, another cheap play. I believe he was 3,800. He put up 17.2 points. And then the Texans D was just money, 29 points for him. So great lineup there. Congrats to this guy. All right, so moving on to the wildcard picks. My top stack of the week is going to be Kirk Cousins, 5,900 with Jordan Reed, 6,300. So on paper, this isn't the best matchup as the Packers have a pretty good pass defense, but this might lead to Cousins and maybe even Reed being a bit lower owned. I think Reed will be pretty high owned, but Cousins might not be as high owned going against the Packers. Cousins averages 23.4 DK points at home, and his last 3 full games, he's put up 25, 38, and 35 DraftKings points. And last week he played less than a half and he put up 19 DraftKings points. So Cousins is on fire lately. Reed's last 3 full games with Cousins, he's put up 36, 27, and 30 DraftKings points. And he broke the 30 DraftKings points 3 times this year, which is pretty crazy for a tight end. Reed is an absolute beast. Cousins' favorite target for sure. I think this is going to be a pretty good stack this week. Running back is tough. It's a tough position. That's my last bullet point on the slide. It's a tough position. My favorite plays are Lynch and D'Angelo Williams if they're healthy. But if they're not healthy, my next favorite play would be Eddie Lacy at 4,500. Kind of hurts to say that. I'm not a huge fan of Lacy, but the running back position is just so tough this week without Lynch and D'Angelo Williams. So watch to see if those guys are playing. It looks like one, if not both of them, will be playing. But then I also like Eddie Lacy as well at 4,500. Green Bay has an implied team total of 22.3, which means they're expected to score around 20 points according to Vegas. Lacy's getting the majority of carries for Green Bay lately, but I still think they're in a little bit of a running back by committee there in Green Bay, but pretty much every team that's playing this weekend is in a little bit of a running back by committee, so it's pretty tough. The Redskins are second last in the NFL in rushing yards against per attempt, so I think Green Bay could be trying to run the ball quite a bit this week, and Eddie Lacy, the last couple times he's rushed 20 times, he's put up 100 yards. So I think at 4,500, he's a pretty good play. Moving on to wide receiver, we've got three of the top wide receivers. So I'm just going to quickly mention these guys. It's pretty much a no-brainer that these are pretty good plays. But this is the order that I like them in. Antonio Brown, 9,600. Then I like AJ Green at 7,500. And then DeAndre Hopkins at 8,400. Then, of course, you've also got Macklin and Baldwin, who are good plays this week as well. But for my picks, I'm going to go with some sleeper picks. So I've got Tyler Lockett at 4,400. He's been quiet the last two games, but he's still getting deep shots from Wilson. Last week, Wilson just overthrew him. He had burned Peterson. It was going to be about a 50-yard touchdown, and he just got overthrown. So he's still getting his looks. From weeks 13 to 15, he had 16, 31, and 16 DraftKings points. And rookie receivers usually come on late in their rookie season. That seems to be the case for Lockett. He's been getting a lot more snaps lately, and I liked him to do a little bit of damage in Minnesota this week. Then we're going with another rookie wide receiver with Stephon Diggs at 4,300. Game flow could work in Diggs' favor as the Vikings are 5-point underdogs to the Seahawks. They might be down in the second half throwing a lot. And the Viking receivers haven't done too much at all this season, but Diggs has easily been the best. He's got 4 games with 20 or more DraftKings points and 6 double-digit DraftKings point games. He's going to be in a tough matchup, but if they're throwing a lot at 4,300, he might be able to meet value. And then besides Reed as my top tight end play, I also like Tyler Eifert at 5,000. So I'm not really going out on a limb here with my tight end plays, but I do think that those two are the best on the slate, Reed and Eifert. I would pay up at tight end this week. Eifert has 13 touchdowns in 13 games played this year. He came back from injury last week and had 15.1 DraftKings points. And I believe he was only in about half the snaps last week, and he still put up 15 points. And that was with McCarron playing at quarterback, so it doesn't really matter to me who's in at quarterback. He's playing in what is expected to be a high-scoring game versus Steelers defense, who is in the bottom half of the league against the pass. I think Eifert might have a good game this week, and I'll be putting him in some of my lineups. All right, so moving on to defense. I like to remind you guys that defense is very random. The defensive scoring usually comes down to sacks, turnovers, and touchdowns being the most important. So I don't stack a defense in all of my lineups. If I'm doing 10 lineups, I'll have my top-rated defense maybe in 4 or 5 of those and then mix in a couple other defenses in the other lineups. But I do like the Chiefs defense at 4,000. They're in Houston this week, and the Vegas total is at 40 points, with the Texans being 3 to 3.5 point underdogs. So the Texans aren't expected to score a lot this week. And the Chiefs defense is averaging 11.1 DraftKings points per game this season and 10.9 on the road. So they've been doing very well for DraftKings scoring. The Texans are 15th in the NFL in fantasy points allowed against defenses. I think paying up for the Chiefs defense this week is a great play, but again, make sure you mix in some other defenses as well if you're doing multiple lineups. All right, guys, so if you enjoyed this video, let me know by clicking the thumbs up button on YouTube so I know to keep making them. Again, this week, if we can get 1,500 thumbs up, I'll make one for the divisional round games next week. And if you don't have access to my free lineup generator tool, make sure you click on the link in the YouTube description below to get that absolutely free. And you'll also get my emailed updates with extra picks each week, usually on Saturday mornings. So as always, guys, good luck with your contest. Hope you make a lot of money this weekend. Cheers.